Okay, well, a day or two ago I was asked by someone to make a video on something that I knew nothing about because I haven't watched that particular YouTube channel for about 2 years or so. So I didn't actually know what had happened because I usually rely on emails, and I don't really check my emails much at all, or other people's videos to know what's actually happening. And well, apparently yeah, I found out, and this shit in many ways does not surprise me, but this is probably the most extreme it has ever got. You know, the long and short of it is, for those of you who don't know, there's a whole heap of us who are sometimes labelled trolls. I like to think of us as the usual suspects because we've been implicated falsely so many times before by some guy who has been told by another Ebeggar that you can boost your view count by creating more drama. And every time this guy needs to boost his view count, he will create more drama and he will falsely implicate what I like to call the usual suspects, and he might like to call the trolls. Some of us, myself, Disco Hippie Chick, also known as DHC, and others have not gone on his channel for 2 years or more, and yet somehow we're still getting dragged into bullshit. Now, I sort of am considered a little bit of authority on this guy because I'm one of very few who has met him in person, who is not associated with his cult or church, whatever you want to call it. You know, I've had the guy come to this house. He's, I believe he sat on that chair that the cat's now sitting on. If not, it was this one right here with the blue box on it. He's charged his laptop in the wood heater in that room, in my bedroom in there. And interestingly enough, he told me that you don't want to tell people the actual truth of what's happening. You just want to tell them what they want to hear, what they would like to hear, because it makes them happy about your YouTube channel, and they feel nice about it when you tell them what they want to hear. And he told me that when he was approximately standing in that tree there, he was about there. He's about another 3 meters past that tree when he said that. It's fucking, you know, I know of a particular YouTuber, and many years may, and this person said only a couple of weeks ago, never underestimate how knowledgeable some people on YouTube can be. Well, I've had another one that I've been saying for about the last 3 years or so, and it is never underestimate how fucking ungodly stupid people are. You know, however, whatever you think of people, one thing YouTube has shown me is there are more dumb fuckers in this world than I ever actually thought could be possible to allow the world to still function without people dying like flies. If you're one of these people that can watch Alex Jones stand there and say that they are putting ground up baby parts in Pepsi to make Pepsi taste better, then you're probably wasting your time watching the rest of this video, because your brains have probably shut down to the level of an NPC in a computer game. There isn't anything going on there except a pre-recorded script. If you believe that Hillary Clinton has never been involved in any corruption, regardless of, let's say, Cattlegate from 1985, where she managed to, in the space of, what was it now, it was only a few days basically, make, I think it was 200-fold her original investment, but you know, Hillary's never been involved in any corruption. If you believe that, then maybe you should just end this video now as well, because you're obviously also shockingly mentally decrepit and, you know, have no ability of reasonable thought or analysis, because this video is going to include a fair bit of analysis. And if you are one of these people that does run right, being told what you want to hear, that does like the world to all work out in their own little bubble fantasy, then you might as well take a hike now, because you're not capable of any subjective analysis, of any part-by-part deconstruction of events, and your brain's a little more than the chicken gelatine that I poured out on the grass a day ago. For those of you who have functioning minds that can actually, you know, deduct reason and analyse stuff, and, you know, who can function to the level that 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 5.5, it actually equals 4, well then you might as well stay on. But if not, you know, just stay where you are. Keep ranting and raving all your shit to protect your master of deceit, and we'll see you in court, and I may be funding some of these people as they land in court. If you want to stand there and defend somebody whose levels of bullshit are somewhere around the levels of Enron's Jeff Skilling, we'll just keep hanging with this guy, and you'll sink with him, because, you know, the torpedo's about to hit the side of the ship and you'll go down with him. Don't delete any comments, don't do anything, just stand there like a fucking idiot, and we'll make sure you go down along with him. This fucking bullshit has been going on for the better part of, what do we say, at least 4 years, I think. And basically, the accusations that have been made against the usual suspects are that we are manufacturing child porn using his daughter. Yeah. You know, that time there was a fucking meteorite come down in Mexico, or there was an eclipse, you know, like fucking whenever it was, 9 months ago. We were responsible for that too. I must admit, we have the ability to move the sun. We have the ability to, you know, change between dimensions. We have the ability to manipulate cryptocurrencies. We have the ability to change the elections in countries. The fuck? We're average people who once were associated with this guy or watched this guy 5+ years ago and have been dragged down as being the usual suspects. So, on with the analysis here. Now, first of all, I believe that somebody just made an admission of watching child porn. Did they not? I've seen the video of my daughter involved in a sexual act with a man. Hang on a minute. You just admitted to watching child porn. Ah. Well, there's this one, blah, 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 involved in it. Hang on a minute. I've got a phone right now. I've got another phone charging up in the other room. I've got another phone sitting down there. Yes, I own a lot of phones. Most of them don't even actually function as phones anymore, but they're still good as cameras. And I have this amazing little device here. Now I can stick, that's spring-loaded, that top part, that top little piece will come up and down. And I can stick this phone in this thing and it will hold in place, and I can press the record button myself. You know, you don't need much to create porn, and you certainly don't need 20 people to create it. And in fact, there was a 15-year-old girl in the United States who was charged with manufacturing and distributing child porn because she was taking photos of her own girly parts and putting them on the internet. That only needed one person to do that. Amazing. But anyway, this also begs the question, if his daughter got involved in that or got used for that stuff, did that mean she was kidnapped? Where the fuck was Mel at this point in time, or babysitter, or grandmama, or whatever? How the fuck did they get a hold of this guy's daughter? And if they did, why isn't there mentions of kidnapping involved? If you've seen this video, blah, 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 oh yeah, alright. Okay, so you've just made the assumption now that people who are subscribed to you are also watching child porn, just like you admitted to be watching child porn yourself. Okay. Oh. This is very serious. I'm going to talk to the feds. Oh, no. I'll tell you what's very serious. What is very serious is the fact that you and your subs, now you mightn't have directly, but by extension, you have basically defamed and labelled probably, I don't know, 15, 20 people, however many people you're going to put on your list of usual suspects this time, as manufacturers of child porn and abusers. At least one of them is an abuser of your daughter. Okay, rightio. So this is the part where you cross the line, and this is the part where we fucking sue the pants off you. Let's face it, most of these Ebeggars, Troy included, are battling, and I know he's got a part-time job, but they're battling to pull together a couple $100. Really, they usually are. They might get $1,000 if they borrow it off mummy. You know, I bought a car, basically 2 months ago. I picked it up pretty much one of the last days of last year, after Christmas and before New Year's. And regardless of the fact that I've now got another vehicle that's had quite a few services and bits and pieces, and you know, it's running really nicely now. I still have tens of thousands of dollars to spare, and you know, having said that, that means we can actually afford real lawyers, not fucking. Oh, well, some friend's going to represent me in court, or someone used to be a qualified lawyer and they're retired, so now they're going to kind of blah, 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 blah. Nah. See, this is a big difference. All this court bullshit talk from Ebeggars is nothing but shit, because they usually have barely enough money to fuel up their fucking vehicle. And here's the trouble. You start fucking with people who have tens of thousands of dollars sitting in the bank, as I do, or should we say someone else who has a channel named after them, but according to emails that I've received, really hasn't been, you know, they've been trying to keep positive because they've got a lot going on in their life, you know, and they have, I believe, in the hundreds of thousands in the bank, and there's someone else who we all know, who I'm sure they've been implicated yet again, and they literally have millions. And who do you think can afford lawyers, you fucking numbnuts? I know who can afford lawyers, and you'll find out. And, you know, if there's some people who've been implicated that can't afford it, hey, yeah, I only got to go for a trip down to the bank, get my little wallet here, and I can transfer thousands of dollars to the United States in the space of a day. It's sort of... oh, you know, there comes a time where you see so much bullshit that in the end you're fucking laughing at it. It's like a guy I used to work with. He copped so much shit from his ex. So many bullshit reports to the cops. She was trying to report stuff about him to the cops. Oh, well, he left me in Sydney. He just dumped me in the middle of Sydney and drove off. And the cop was saying, what's the go with this? Officer, that happened 7 years ago. And he would have this bullshit brought into the police station. Oh, he was stalking me outside my house last night. We were working afternoon shift. He was working right next to me at the very time that he was apparently stalking her house. In the end, he saw so much of this bullshit that he just used to go in to the cop station and he'd sign off the papers they expected him to sign, and he'd just be fucking laughing at all this bullshit because it went so long, it become laughable. But, you know, this is the thing. This guy, you know, is taking it too far now, and there comes a point where all these arseholes have to be dealt with. And there's another analysis point I was going to make I can't quite think of because I've got myself a little bit wound up here. You know, oh, that's right, yes. According to soldiers who have been in Iraq, there is actually footage of like Asian child porn getting around in Iraq. And if that footage is getting around on DVDs in Iraq and has been for years, there's no doubt that it's most likely on the internet as well. You tell me, not really being racist here, but let's face it, this part of the world, they all have black hair and they all have brown eyes. It's not racist, it's a genetic fact. I have a Chinese sidekick at work and he tells me that he really wishes he had blue eyes. He'd think it'd be great to have blue eyes. He's told me this directly. But the fact is, you tell me, when we get an entire lineup of 2-year-old Asian girls, you tell me if you can pick the fucking difference, because you can't. And you wouldn't be able to pick the difference between his kid and some bullshit that was videoed 15 years ago and is some of the child porn that has circulated Iraq during the time that US troops were in Iraq. Because a lot of locals had this sort of shit. We're talking about a country here where there's 13-year-old prostitutes and border guards who let them in and out of the country so long as they jump on their, you know. There is nothing to say that it's his kid, because let's face it, a 2-year-old Asian girl looks no different to another 2-year-old Asian girl. Oh, she's half-caste. Well, but you tell me if you could pick the damn difference. You know, Filipinos aren't the darkest people because we also have a Filipino at work and they're not that dark. So they don't suddenly get really light. And, you know, anyway, so much of this stuff is just bullshit. And the most interesting thing on a whole lot of this, you could tell this guy has the mentality of a fucking serial killer. How can I tell that? How can I say that this guy has the mentality of a serial killer? Did you see one tear, one wince, one stop the camera, edit, play again, in the whole time that he was talking about his daughter being fucked by a pedophile and videoed and being put on the internet? There was not one tear, there was not one whimper, there was... Okay, twice there he fumbled his words a little bit, but there was not one whimper, there was not one tear, he wasn't shaking with nervousness, he just looked in that camera, and aside from slightly fumbling 2 words, he just spoke it like he was just reading out of a fucking newspaper. The emotion levels of that guy were less than my cat when she wants the food bowl filled up, but there's already food in it. It was zero emotion. No guy can talk about their daughter being raped by a pedophile and it being filmed or put on the internet. In fact, no one can even talk about their daughter being groped on the titties without just about going to tears. And the other interesting thing is, how many times have there been people who have had something happen to one of their children and they automatically blame themselves for not being there? And what did this guy do? He didn't blame himself. He didn't blame his wife / ex-wife, whatever his status is. He didn't shed a tear. He didn't quiver. He didn't shake. Yes, he bumbled 2 words. No crying, nothing. He was as emotionless as a psychopathic serial killer. And that's the real proof that you know that this is bullshit. Because there's no emotion involved in, well, my 2-year-old daughter was raped by a pedophile and it was filmed and put on the internet. The sheer lack of emotion in this guy should show you people out there how much of a fucking maniac this cunt is. Honestly, it's unbelievable. It's just, there is no emotions. Barely a whimper of emotions as this guy sits there describing something that would make most guys homicidal, if not suicidal. So anyway, I want you to analyse all that shit before the torpedo hits the ship and you all go down with lawyers that, you know, are funded by most of us, which have plenty of money, and those who can't be funded, maybe I'll fucking fund them. And if not, I'm sure there's other people who are not going to be short of a few dollars to help anyone who needs a bit of lawyer funding. And this guy might have just signed himself off the internet permanently. Good luck standing by him, because you'll be going down with him.